Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon if it's the afternoon when you're watching this. Hope you're all coping well with the adjustment to not being in a real life school and being at home. I guess we're all still learning, so hopefully you will get used to this. Let's have a look at the biology test. Which you did a couple of weeks ago now. It really went very, very well. Okay, so the first thing to say, where can I write this? Shall I write it in the middle of here? To every one of you is, well done, you did so brilliantly in biology, and there isn't a huge amount for me to really talk through. So this video probably won't be very long. The interesting thing is that all of the things that we've just done, so the ecology, the food chains, food webs, predator-prey stuff, the stuff about pesticides moving up food chains, the bioaccumulation, all of that was done really, really well. And the bit that I'd like you to concentrate on really in terms of your hour of work today is the stuff that actually we did at the beginning of the year in September in cycle 1. The cells and particularly the reproduction stuff is where we've kind of dropped the ball a bit and forgotten. We'll have a quick look at it anyway. So what have we got here? Let me lift it up a little bit. I'll put this light on so you can see. Right, so these ones here were all absolutely fine, so I'm not going to labour those at all. The one that really caught us out is this one, the human reproduction one. Now obviously the two reproductive systems, the male and the female one, are different. The one for they are the only system within a human body which is different between male and female. And this was simply knowing the job of each of the parts of the reproductive system. And unfortunately, many of us did not know the parts, and so didn't score very highly at all on this bit. So I'm just going to fill them in for you, but I have asked you as your kind of task today to spend some considerable time kind of self-quizzing with the knowledge organizer, which I've also put a spare copy of for you, to really get to grips with these parts. Really important that we try and remember this, and it's likely, or it seems to me, that probably people didn't revise too much on this, and I'm not necessarily talking about everyone. Some people got some of these right, but this by far was the weakest question. Okay, so first of all, we've got the tube that carries the egg to the uterus. Okay, now when we did it, I called it the oviduct. Okay, now you can, if you want to, use another word, which is a fallopian tube. Either one is acceptable. This is the one that most of you I was kind of expecting to get, and actually it was very, very low that people had remembered what this is. So this, remember, is the tube here. Okay, so the egg is released from here. These are the ovaries, so that's, in fact, oh, that should have a T in it. That's this one here, the organ that produces the egg. That's the ovary, or ovaries, because women have two ovaries. The egg travels along the oviduct down here to the uterus, which is this bit here. Oh, I'm blocking it, sorry, this bit here, where if it meets a sperm and gets fertilized, it will implant. That usually happens somewhere along here. Then as it travels along here, it will become an embryo and it will implant. If it doesn't meet a sperm, it's going to just pass out through this muscular ring, the cervix, through the vagina and out of the body. Okay, the organ then that produces sperm, that is part of the male reproductive system. That's here, these bits here, these are the testes. Okay, testes in there. Okay, not well answered at all, and I think the answer to this is for you to just go back to that knowledge organizer on the reproductive system and really spend some time making sure that you are really happy with what the part and the function is for each of the parts of the male and the female reproductive system. Okay, now this one again, lots of people very unsure here. So in humans, normal pregnancy lasts for 9 months. Okay, we had a lot of people got that right, but lots of people just kind of coming up with a random number, it seemed. So 9 months. When the fetus is ready to be born, the muscles in the uterus wall start to. Now again, we had loads and loads of different words here, things like expand. What we really want to get at, or squeeze was another one. Yes, they do squeeze, okay, but when a muscle squeeze, what it's actually doing is it is contracting. Okay, so they contract. That is the opposite from relax, and lots and lots and lots of us wrote relax here. Okay, so what they do is they kind of squeeze all of these walls here, squeeze, 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 so that the baby can pass out of the body. Now I've given you some pages of the textbook which I'd like you to read and just make a little summary of what happens during birth. I'm not expecting you to do the questions, but I'd like to just kind of recap that, because actually it was something that we didn't do a huge amount on. This is only testing a very small amount of knowledge, but this clearly hasn't gone in. Okay, so a squeeze is a contract. Okay, and the opposite of that is to relax. Okay, so I'm going to skip over this food web question because that was done very well, and I'm going to go to, oh, this was really well done. I'm very, very pleased that you managed to remember all of these. Okay, but just for completeness, for the odd few of you that didn't manage to get this, we've got circulatory system here is this one. It's got the heart, it pushes all of the blood through the veins and arteries around the body, so that is C. Digestive system here in the middle, there's the stomach there, and then your large and small intestines, liver in the background there. So we've got D. Reproductive system, I think everybody got, and we saw it in the previous page, that's a female one, so B. Respiratory system is to do with breathing. It's a bit of a confusing thing because breathing and respiration are slightly different, but breathing allows respiration to happen. Okay, so it's this bit here, the lungs, so that is A, and then absolutely everyone got this one right. E is the skeletal system, the skeleton. Okay, now here's some more bits that we were a little bit, oops, my wires are getting all crossed over here. Okay. So lots and lots of kind of not sure about these. These are the specialized cells, okay? They are all on your specialized cells knowledge organizer. Now the first one was to give the name of cell C. So that is a red blood cell. It's not enough to just say blood cell, because there are also other types of blood cell, like a white blood cell. So you have to be really specific and make sure that you write the word red. Okay, if you remember what the adaptations are, it doesn't have a nucleus, so it allows it to carry lots of oxygen. That's what its job is. It's to carry oxygen around the body. So no nucleus in order for it to do that. It's also got this biconcave shape, so from the side it looks a bit like a donut, like that, and again that is to give it loads of room to carry oxygen. So loads and loads of adaptations for that. The main functions of the two cells, two of the cells are listed below. Write the letter of the correct cell next to each function. Right, photosynthesis. So we are looking for a cell which contains chloroplasts and is a plant cell, and there is only one, and this is this one here, B. Okay, so remember these bits here, those are the chloroplasts, and they are there to photosynthesize. Okay, I'm talking about that bit, so it looks a bit like I've labelled the cell membrane there. Okay, not that one is the nucleus, but all the others are chloroplasts. Okay, these allow the plant to photosynthesize. So B is the answer to this one. Improvement of mucus, very similar, looks kind of plant celly because of the shape of it, but it isn't. It is a ciliated cell, and if you look at the top here are the cilia. Okay, the cilia are up there, and what they do, if you remember, is they kind of waft the mucus along. Okay, so when mucus builds up, in the kind of lungs, or the tubes that go to the lungs, then these cilia kind of waft it along. And we talked a little bit in lesson about how smoking, the heat from the cigarette smoke, can burn these off. Okay, so it's a while since we did this, so it might be worth, if you've got time today, having another look over these kind of specialized cells as well, because you'll see them over and over again over time, but it's really important that you start to recognize them and you don't have to keep going back every time to look up what something is. Okay, give the name of the organ where cell E is produced. Okay, so cell E, this is a sperm cell, and we just talked about it briefly a few minutes ago. It is produced in the testes. Okay, lots of you wrote testicles. Now you can have the mark for that, but the actual organ itself, the gland that produces sperm, is called they are called the testes. Okay, or one testis. Give the name of the part of the plant where cell B would be found. Okay, now it's not going to be found in a root. This is in fact a root cell, root hair cell. So that's going to be found in the root. This one, because it's where it wants to collect light on its chloroplast in order to photosynthesize, it has to be in the bit that catches the light, which is in the leaf. Okay, so you can have it for stem anywhere that's green really, but certainly not root, because there is no light underneath the ground. Okay, that is about it in terms of things that went a little bit kind of amiss in the test. And as I said, it is the things that you've done longer ago, and it just kind of is an indication to me and also to you that you need to really be making sure that you go back and kind of go over this this stuff a few more times. These particularly, they need to be in your head and they need to be kind of not being forgotten. Okay, so my suggestion is that your task today is to kind of look over and make some notes on, if you need to, or do some self-quizzing on the reproduction knowledge organizer, but also if you've got some time to start maybe adding in a few questions and things about these guys. And it's important that you know how they're adapted as well. We've talked about adaptations, what makes them good at their function. Okay, so I talked a little bit about this. We were talk about a sperm, then it's the fact it's got a tail so it can swim, it's got half the genetic information in its little head here. It has some chemicals, they're called enzymes, which are able to break through the wall of the egg, that kind of thing. Okay, so all sorts of different adaptations. This one's got loads of chloroplast to capture as much light as it possibly can. It's near the top of the leaf, blah 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 blah, those kinds of things. This one's got a large surface area, so it's really important that you go back and you kind of make sure that you are happy with this, because it's very simple biology and it's very, very important that you have learned it. Okay, same with the reproductive system. So those other two things I'd like you to concentrate on. As I said, I've given you a book page to have a read of. You do not need to do the questions unless you particularly want to test yourself, and that is simply there to kind of supplement your understanding and remind you of what goes on during birth, and you can add that to any kind of notes that you're making. So it's more of a kind of note collection task today. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your Monday, and I will speak to you with my chemistry video on Wednesday. Okay, have fun guys, bye.